thank you all, and I cannot express to all of you enough my thanks to you and city officials and mayors and to the citizens of your cities who we believe our neighbors should have the right, the opportunity to decide the critical issues for themselves. LB 357 is historic, and it's historic not because I introduced it in the least. It's historic because of you, and it's historic because of the work of the League, the work of the cities throughout this great state of Nebraska. I'm proud, immensely proud, to be involved in this effort. And I do want to say that I'm glad that we have some extra time before we will vote again on LB 357, because as I told my good friend Lynn Rex, who I want to express my deep appreciation for her efforts. There's no one like her in our state government. She is tenacious, committed to the people of the state of Nebraska, and I think this is what it's all about. The cities, the municipalities represent our neighbors and all of the citizens. We believe in you, we believe in you, we believe in you, and it's time for a change. It's time to give the citizens of this state an opportunity to make the critical decisions as we go into the 21st century. But again, we have time. As I told my friend Lynn Rex, who thought, well, we've got some time, you know, we can sit around the cabin. No, we're going to go across the state, Lynn, starting on Friday or Monday, and we're going to drive, no flying, we're going to drive, we're going to drive to as many places as we can to say again and again and again thank you to the citizens of this state for what they do and for electing these individuals to represent them as mayors and city officials. And we're going to spread the word that this legislature is committed to giving you, the citizens, a voice, a strong voice in their own future. Thank you very much. I saw a few of my colleagues here. Our leader, Mike Flood, who is, in my view, one of the really the great leaders in the history of our legislature. He is steadfast. He is committed to our future, and I thank Senator Flood, Speaker Flood, for his leadership over the last 6 years. Senator Hadley's here from Kearney, who I've enjoyed so much working with on so many issues, and for his support of LB 357 from the very first day when we introduced the bill. Senator Hadley's been with us. Senator Shoemaker said to me, Senator Shoemaker from Columbus, who worked in Washington in the late 60s, early 70s. When I worked there, we were in grade school. And during the Nixon years. But Senator Shoemaker said, I like your bill, but we've got to have some collaboration. We've got to have political subdivisions working together to make this even a better bill. And so we have that collaboration in LB 357. We are encouraging what is commonplace to most of you, which is let's work with our political subdivisions, our schools, our counties, our NRDs to be efficient, more efficient with the use of our funds. And so the idea of interlocal agreement, cooperation, regional cooperation really comes from my friend Senator Shoemaker, who has also been with us from the beginning of this effort. The revenue chair, Senator Cornett, had to leave, but she, of course, has been a co-sponsor of the bill, has been very much behind our effort, and I thank her very much. I believe Senator Lathrop has signed on to the bill. I know he has, as has Senator McGill, and thank them. And all of my colleagues, even those that didn't vote with us, because we still have a chance to get them to vote with us. next week. And thank them all for their commitment to all of you in the state of Nebraska and to all the citizens of the state. With that, Senator Shoemaker, I'm going to ask you to say a few words, would you please? And then I'm going to ask Dave to say some words. Come on over here.
Thank you, Senator Ashford. It was a real honor to work with Senator Ashford on this particular measure. And I think its underlying good news is that it's an attempt to empower people. It's an attempt to have communities be able to muster the resources in order to do projects which they need to have done, or to cooperate with others to do even larger projects. So it was a pleasure, and I thank you, Senator Ashford, for letting me participate in that particular endeavor, and congratulate all the municipal folks here today in their work to make this a possibility. Thank you.
I'm going to turn this over to Dave Becker now, who, of course, is your president of the League of Municipalities. I do want to thank Nebraska City for the apple, and thank you very much for that. And Dave, would you like to proceed up here?
Thank you. I'm Dave Beckner. I am a council member from the city of Scottsbluff and the current League of Nebraska Municipalities president. 26 years ago, during a time of some budgetary problems, the legislature saw fit to grant all municipalities in Nebraska the authority to utilize a local option sales tax as another tool to sustain themselves. To date, 194 of the 530 municipalities in Nebraska have taken advantage of that tool. Voters of cities of all sizes across the state, Omaha, Lincoln, Scottsbluff, Fairbury, Mullen, Exeter, among others, have authorized their municipalities to have a local option sales tax. This has enabled those cities and villages to keep down their property taxes and expand their capabilities to provide the needed services and infrastructures to their citizens. LB 357 will operate essentially the same way as the current law. Local voters will have the authority to make the decision by a vote of the people. And isn't that what Nebraskans always want? Those closest to the decision should be making the decision. I want to thank Senator Ashford for his leadership on this bill, as well as the 29 other senators who voted for the final passage of LB 357. And I would urge all senators to trust the local voters to make the best decisions for their communities.
My name is Chris Beitler. I'm mayor of the city of Lincoln, and I'm very proud, first of all, to have spent this last year in close association with this group of people who I've come to highly respect and appreciate. And they all have different kinds of problems, but they all come together to solve at the local level, local problems. And I want to take my little short time up here, most of all, again, to thank the senators, and first and foremost, to thank Senator Ashford, who made this his priority bill this year, who made it his priority bill last year, who has guided this ship home. You know, when you're in dangerous waters, you always get a special pilot to take you through the sculls and to know where the deep water is. And he's been our pilot, and he's done a fantastic job. And he's had the help of some fantastic people to give him guidance in shaping the bill. Senator Shoemaker, Senator Hadley, Speaker Flood. They have all come together to give this bill shape and to give it life and to put prerogatives where prerogatives should be, not to dictate to the people of any city a particular political philosophy, but to say to them, you are the local people, You are the people that are going to decide on local projects. You're the ones that will be asked whether you want to invest or not to invest. And I very much appreciate the fact that these senators have kept in perspective and acknowledged the different levels of government and have divided things out in such a way that it truly makes sense, I think, for everybody. And we thank you for that judgment and for that generosity and for that particular political philosophy. Thank you.
I am Marlene Johnson. I'm the mayor of West Point, Nebraska. First of all, I want to thank Senator Brad Ashford for his taking this through and carrying it through to the end. I want to thank Speaker Flood for being a supporter of this, and all the other senators that voted for this and got this through, because it's a very important thing for the communities and the cities and the villages of the state of Nebraska to be able to have another tool that we can move forward to pay for the expenses and pay for the infrastructure and the things that we need to do to keep our cities growing and viable for economic development, because economic development is the backbone of every one of our communities, and we need to have the means to push that forward. I trust the judgment of our local voters in West Point to determine whether they need a sales tax or not. And this truly is a way of government by and for the people of the state of Nebraska, because they are the ones that are going to decide if we, as the leaders of their community, need to have these funds to support what goes on in our community. So thanks again to all of the senators and to all of those that voted, and for all of the support that we had from everyone out in the communities. The League Executive Board worked hard to make sure that this was one of the bills that got brought forward, and we had tremendous support from all the other communities. As you can see, they're all standing back here. So thanks to everyone that helped us get this job done.
Good afternoon. I am Sue Fookman. I am mayor of the city of Norfolk, and truly, you know, it's a pleasure for me to be here in front of you today too. I will tell you, honestly, Senator Ashford, we had a long haul ahead of us, and I want you to know that Senator Flood wasn't with us from the get-go, but in his way of always having the ear to the citizens, each week he gave us, as local leaders in our community, the opportunity to have conversation with him on bills that were going to affect us in our community area. And let me tell you, week after week, we talked about the need for us as elected officials to have more tools to allow us to take care of the infrastructure needs that certainly is our responsibility. And it has been a learning experience for me to recognize that what we needed to do was continue to present to him. And again, his decision, I believe, is the right decision to help us help ourselves. And now, as community leaders, it is our responsibility to take advantage of what I believe has been put forward, and that is coming up with a plan that is going to work best for our community on how it is that we can best use this, hopefully, this tax increase, this sales tax increase for us. So again, Senator Ashford, thanks from all of us. I speak this message truly from all of our city leaders that have been a part of these conversations with our senator over the last weeks. Obviously, there's been a lot of phone calls back and forth, but I do believe that we are ready to take on that responsibility, and I also know that our citizens are in place and have been talking about what it is that we need to do. So again, thanks for the opportunity to be here this afternoon, Senator Ashford, and all those that work so diligently to get us to the point that we are right now. Thank you.
I'm Lance Hedquist. I'm the city administrator of the city of South Sioux City, Nebraska. And the City of South Sioux City is very pleased to be here today in support of LB 357. We really appreciate the leadership Senator Ashford has had on this. We also are very encouraged by Senator Schumacher's addition of having us work together with other governmental bodies. Since 1979, the City of South Sioux City, Dakota County, and the school district have been meeting to work on how we can best address problems for all the citizens of our area. Several years ago, our county went to the voters and asked them to vote for a property tax-based back jail for our county. That issue failed very badly. They brought it back again, asking the voters again for that. Again, it failed and even got a worse vote. And on the third time, they brought it back again, and even a worse vote came out of that situation. When they came together with the City of South Sioux City, and we went to the voters of South Sioux City and Dakota County and suggested that we have a temporary sales tax, it passed by over 2-1. The citizens were overwhelmed with that opportunity to provide needed services within our particular area. Last year, we had a record flood that came to the Missouri River. Our city now has $7.3 million worth of costs that we have to recoup from the damages caused by the Missouri River. This sales tax issue might have been a help for us in terms of covering some of those costs in our community instead of looking for property taxes in our area. So we like the opportunity that this gives our citizens to make a choice for how they want their future to be and the encouragement for intergovernmental cooperation.
I'm Gary Gurnant. I'm Vice President of the Omaha City Council, and I come to the state capitol today with a huge thank you from the administration for all the work that's being done on LB 357. I can tell you one thing for sure: when this becomes law, we will have one very happy group in Omaha called the restaurateurs. It would certainly allow local control and a chance for more interlocal cooperation. And most of all, it will give the voters a say in what's going on. I don't know how many times we as elected officials hear, let us vote on this, let us vote on this. Well, hopefully if that happens, I would encourage the voters of Nebraska to tell government, stop slamming the lid to the toolbox shut. Thank you.
Stan Klaus, the mayor of the city of Kearney. And on behalf of the citizens of Kearney, we'd like to thank Senator Ashford and Schumacher and other senators that have been in favor of this. A number of years ago, when Senator Hadley served on the city council with me and others, we had some issues that we need to take care of, some infrastructure issues, some quality of life issues, and we were faced with some choices. Do we raise property taxes? What are some of our options? And one of the options we had was we still had a half-cent left on the sales tax that was permissible by law. And so we had numerous meetings with our citizens. We explained the issues, and we talked about what our issues were, and we talked about the options. And then we took the vote of the people. And overwhelmingly, our citizens said, this is what we want to do. We want to have the sales tax implemented so that we can take care of these important issues that are facing our community. We reached that point again in the future. Of course, Kearney, we have no intention of taking this to our citizens because our issues have pretty much been taken care of, but it's reassuring to know that we have that in our hip pocket, that we can present this in the future if we need to. But the things that we've done, they overwhelmingly approved it. We did what we said we were going to do. We have a tremendous amount of transparency in that we track every penny that comes in from that additional half-cent sales tax. It's out there on a spreadsheet. Our citizens have seen the work that we've done, and we feel that allowing our citizens to be a part of the process is so important, and what we've experienced is that that's what's made Kearney successful, is giving our citizens the option to vote on these types of issues. So, Senators, again, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Colleen Lowry. I'm the City Administrator of Gretna, Nebraska. I'm also the Vice President of Nebraska City-County Management Association, as well as a member of the United Cities of Sarpy County. I'd like to first thank Senator Brad Ashford for introducing this bill and let you know that Gretna, as well as the United Cities, has been following LB 357 for the past 2 years and have been strong supporters of the same. We'd like to thank all of the senators for their support. I'm going to speak to you from Gretna's point of view. Gretna is one of the fastest growing cities in Nebraska. We, 2 years ago, sat down and put together a strategic plan which identified our top 15 projects. I am very pleased to say that 8 of those said projects have either begun or are in the completion phase. We do have another 7 to go. One of those 7 projects is the building of a new aquatic center. And frankly, Gretna does not have the funds to do the same. So with the passage of LB 357, I think it would be quite easy for the mayor and city council to put on the ballot the project of building an aquatic center. We are already in partnership discussions with the school district of Gretna, so we do have that collaborative effort, and we're just so thankful to the senators for doing this.
Marlon Seaman, Mayor of the City of Aurora. This legislative action is an interesting growth in local control, an interesting concept that we have where the values of a leadership are given to the citizens to affirm and, quite frankly, or deny. I am very appreciative of all the senators, not those that voted for it, but all 49, because this is a representative democracy where each vote and each decision comes back as we as city elected officials have to stand before our constituents and answer the question, is this in the best interest of our local community, state, region? So I am very appreciative of the leadership of all of our state senators. And I believe that the value of local control is the one that is going to compel all of them to consider very hardy what their responsibilities are in the pending vote on the override. So, economic development, local control, the ability to citizens to control their own destiny is a dynamic moment in our state, in our local villages and cities and communities. And I thank the senators for that privilege.
Good afternoon. I'm Rita Sanders, and I'm the mayor for the city of Bellevue, and I'm here today to represent the Bellevue-Offutt community. And I'd like to thank Senator Ashford for all of your hard work and all of those that voted on this bill. And I'd like to particularly have a shout out to Senator Abby Cornett and thank her for this vote also. This is the tool that we need for our toolbox for the growth and the economic development that we are just on the crest of developing on the south corridor of Bellevue. And particularly when we work with the Bellevue Chamber of Commerce, and I have the president here today, this is a partnership and a growth and a tool that our city does need for economic development.
Well, I think, thank you, Mayor. Behind every good mayor stands a very tall individual, right? The Bellevue Chamber of Commerce definitely throws in behind the public infrastructure portion, goes hand in hand with bringing business to Bellevue. And as our mayor had mentioned, that we have the Highway 34 project coming on board, and it's relatively new, but this would definitely give us the tools to take this thing and take it to the next level. And it's a good project for us too. So,
thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name's Alan Mickle. I am the chairman of the Exeter Village Board of Trustees. I come today in favor of LB 357, and I feel that my community probably feels the same way. First of all, I'd like to thank Senator Ashford for going through all this hard work. I'm sure this wasn't an easy project. I've kind of been following it and going through it as he's been going through it, and it's been quite a project. I feel that 357, really, when it was first introduced, was a pretty simple bill. Because I'll be honest with you, in 2008, we basically did the same thing in Exeter as LB 357 outlines. In 2007, we felt that our 45-year-old swimming pool was no longer operable. 2008, we come to the citizens through town hall meetings and such, and spoke to them on, here's the deal. I mean, we'll build you a pool. We feel we don't need to increase your taxes, but how would a sales tax be? We had no sales tax to begin with. Had town hall meetings, lots of discussion. May, we put both issues on the ballot. There again, both issues passed on a 3-to-1 margin, hand in hand. There again, the people had the say at what they wanted to do. They felt the commitment to the community, and they felt that this was something that was needed, so they had no problem pursuing this further. June of 2009, the pool was opened, and life in a small community continues to go on as it tries to go on in rural America it is today. So, again, I'd like to thank Senator Ashford and the rest of the senators who have helped push this bill, and hope there will be enough to override the governor's veto. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Don Grosser, and I'm the mayor of Ralston, Nebraska. And I'd like to thank you for inviting us down here today. Senator Ashford, thank you so much for all your work. We've worked with Senator Ashford before in the city of Ralston. And I just want to say Ralston just recently passed a bill that was passed in 779 here in the legislature, but we went to the local people and asked them to vote on our new Ralston Arena. We received an 80% vote, and it just goes to show you how important it is to have local control and local work with the citizens, so they know exactly what's going on and give them a voice. You know, I'm certainly a supporter of the senators to override the governor's veto. You know, I'm opposed to raising sales tax. Ralston finally we were the last Class 1 city in the state to get a sales tax, and but we reduced property taxes, and we've done a great job with that effort. So appreciate being here, and also great job, senators. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jack Hobby, mayor of Nebraska City, and I feel like probably anything I might have to say would be redundant of everything that's been said already. But Nebraska City certainly wants to go on record echoing those thoughts and those same comments that have been made. And we are definitely in favor of 357, and we want to thank the senators that have supported it. And we've been up here lobbying a little bit for those that didn't, in hopes that we might sway their vote if need be coming up. Again, I thank you. Thank you, Senator Ashford.
If an apple from Nebraska City can't do it, I don't know what can. Let me conclude just by saying this. My family came to Nebraska for the first time in 1848 to Dakota County from Ireland. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of being a Nebraskan. And I love this state. And I trust its citizens. And that's why I'm in this body, because I love it so much. Thank you all for being here. It is a great honor. The last time I went around the state on a project was the Quest Center project. And we went around the state to try to sell the idea of an arena in Omaha, which had its good days and bad days. But in the end, it's worked out well. We did have a vote of the people. It did pass, and we're sending some of the money throughout the state for great projects from the west to the east. So I'm thankful for that. Let's go get this done. I'm going to start Monday with Lynn. We're going to go out. We're going to go throughout. I don't know if we're going to go the entire state in 3 days, but we're going to do this again. We're going to tell the people of the state that we trust them. Let's get this vote done and move on and make our state even greater than it is. Thank you all very much.
Oh, questions? Questions. You wanted to get home and pack.
Right. I gotta find a car that gets good gas mileage. Yes.
You have 30 votes. Just enough to override the veto. Can you sustain? Can you override the veto? Can you keep those 30 votes?
Our colleagues, I believe, are going to stick with us. And as I said, we're going to travel around next week and talk to others who may be on the bubble, and to enlarge the vote. I'd like to see us get 40 votes and I think it's possible to get 40 votes. I don't see why not. So we're going to go try to get, because this is really about not the 30 votes. That's important, and I believe we can get there, but it's about even more than that, to show faith in the people. So I think we can get there. Yeah.
There were some who didn't vote. Do you think any of those?
There's no senator in this body that we will not try to persuade to vote for LB 357. I think this is so fundamental to our democracy that I believe we can persuade my colleagues that they can vote for this bill and be very, very positive about it.
Governor says
Andrew.
This allows more spending on the local level, and if you really wanted to give voters an option, put up the option to cut property taxes on the same ballot.
That's fine. I think a number of the senators or mayors have mentioned that. I know Mayor Beitler's talked about reducing property tax. I think one of the mayors said it very well. This is about developing a plan. And that's why we have in the bill the idea of having on the ballot a clear indication of what the voters are going to vote on, and if there is and what that plan is, and if the plan includes a decrease in a property tax, which is a tax that I've never met a Nebraskan that likes property tax, and if the mayors and the city council want to put something like that on the ballot, I think that would be a very positive thing. So I think the plan can be a mixture, but it's up to each city and the citizens, and the mayors and the councils know their citizens, and I'm sure they will put forth a plan to the voters. It was so correctly described by the three tries on the property tax before that didn't work. So I think with a collaborative approach, we can be successful, or you can be successful. These people can be successful.
Senator, the governor also said this morning it makes no sense to cut taxes in the morning and raise them in the afternoon. You voted for the income tax cut. If this goes through and is implemented in Omaha, won't it just be a wash of tax shift?
I love cutting income tax. It's one of my favorite pastimes. I remember when Kay Orr was here and Mayor Beitler was here, and we cut income tax then, and if we can do it again, we'll sure try to do it. I think these mayors and their councils will put forth when they need to, not tomorrow necessarily with every city, when they need to, a viable plan that will meet the needs of their individual communities. Cutting income tax on the state level, I believe, was a prudent decision. It was a balanced decision. Just like that, each individual community will make those kinds of decisions for themselves with this initiative.
Won't the net effect be a wash?
Oh, I don't know, because we don't know what I'd have to do the math. But I think that Fred, I'm not sure that's really the issue. I think the real issue here is what the individual communities feel is appropriate for them. They know that there's been some tax relief from the state on the property tax side and on the income tax side in the last 6 years. They know that, but I really think that these kinds of initiatives pass not because of state tax policy. They pass or don't pass based on how the initiative is communicated to the voters who live in those particular communities. These people know what to do. We need to give them the tools to move forward, and I think that's what this is all about. Yes, Joanne. Well, I mean, we could go into property tax is hard on low-income people who have especially our retired citizens, our elderly citizens who are on a fixed income. Sales tax has a broader swath to attract dollars from outside the state. I mean, there are arguments on both sides of a sales tax, but my sense is that a sales tax, as it fits into each individual city's plan, is an appropriate tool, and then each municipality will have to decide how it fits into their particular plan.
Were you surprised at all about how strongly the governor came out against this bill?
It's tough to go against the people of the state through their elected representatives, their mayors and their councils. the governor and I have agreed on issues, we've disagreed on issues. We vehemently disagree on this one. We disagree on the fundamental point, which is that the citizens, through their elected representatives on the local level, can make the right decisions, as we did in Omaha in the Quest Center. And I really think that, and it's transformed our riverfront and our city. But the same kind of transformational things are happening across the state. And in Lincoln, I just took a walk, because I took a walk down to the arena in Lincoln. Oh my gracious. And the plans for the Haymarket. I can't even imagine how exciting that is. That's going to make the quality of life in our state better. So I really, this is, the governor and I disagree. The governor and I disagree. And if he has every right and prerogative to go out and argue his points, but I think that giving the trust to the people is trumps most any argument that I've heard on this issue. So. Thank you. Thank you, mayors. Thank you all.